Okay, good morning, everybody from Big Bear, California. I'm Siri and this is our 12th class in our pandemic Pilates, which has brought us together. Today's class is going to be on beginnings and endings, which shakes it up a little bit. People come in, you're used to lying them down, starting someplace else. It's also going to be a class that addresses the issues of back problems, neck problems, and scoliosis, which we all have. And this series that we've done, we've worked our way through each apparatus. And this is a way to see when you're working with someone, rather than working with thinking they're beginning, they're intermediate, they're advanced, I'm gonna do level 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to erase all of that. I would go take my privates with Ramana. She wouldn't say, do you want to do an intermediate reformer? She would say, what do you want to work on? I'm like, oh, I want to work on the chair. Oh, I want to work on the Cadillac. So we've done a good review of all the exercises on the different pieces of equipment. And what you want in your head is you have this list. Here's the reformer list. Here's the barrel list. Here's everything you do on this piece of equipment. And then you erase from that list in your head what that person shouldn't do. And what's left is hundreds of things. Okay? And then, so the first thing is, of course, is there pain or is there no pain? No pain, let's just work really hard. If there's pain, we take the 4 R's, the resistance, the rhythm, the repetition, and the range of motion, and we diminish it. If they're advanced, we kick it up. And the other thing is, what kind of pain is it? Have you had this pain for, oh, I have a back problem. What is your back problem? Well, I've had this back problem for 20 years and I'm riding bikes. Oh, okay. Or did you just herniate your disc? So what kind of pain is it? Is it a new pain? Is it an old pain? And what do you do with your pain? Is it better in the morning? Is it better after you move? I do tell people if they have an arthritis, for instance, a lot of people have arthritis or back pain or neck pain, do take an anti-inflammatory, do take a pain, something to calm you down before you come in if you're in this constant chronic state like an arthritis. So today what I've done is I've taken my high mat, I don't know if you can see it. I've taken my high mat and I've put it up on my Cadillac, all right? And so the high mat I can put on the reformer, which is 13 inches. I can put it on the chair. I can put it on top of my cabinet. I can put it on top of the reformer box, which is 11 inches. But this is one of my favorite starting places and ending places. So when we're talking about back problems, neck problems, any problems like that, I want you to think in terms of traction and extension. This is a subject you can look at each apparatus and we'll go through that, which exercises are traction and extension. So the person has been in a car accident, they've got a compressed neck, they've got back problems. What we want to do is extend the discs. We want to extend the body rather than compress the body, right? Example, on the foot corrector, these are compression springs, right? When you put somebody on the reformer, you are compressing them. You're compressing them between 2 fixed points. It's kind of like a big oil drill. And the oil drill goes push, 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 oil. That's what you do. Press, 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 power, because it's a mostly closed chain. So instead of thinking of compressing a body, a compression, for instance, would be short sparring, coming down, the body's flexed, and you're adding resistance, you're compressing the discs. So you want to eliminate back problems, neck problems, scoliosis, all compression. And you want to extend, and you want to traction, and you want to work sometimes more of the extremities than the trunk. Normally you work the trunk first, extremities second. In a scoliosis, you would work more extremities than the trunk to start, and we'll review this. So this is one of the most important things you can use, which is your high mat. You can also make them for about $250. You don't have to spend thousands on it. It's a piece of plywood, some 2x4s, a little foam, and some vinyl. Okay, it's not a big deal. Any carpenter can do it. So here, I'm just gonna, I don't have a student in here today, so I'm just gonna show you. This would be a common ending and a common starting place. If you went to a chiropractor after you had a whiplash or something, he would traction you out. So I'm going to put my feet in the strap. or not, depending on what strap is. Sorry. And I'm going to lie down. Right? What am I doing? I'm extending. So I'm in a passive position. I can bring my arms over my head. My discs are opening up. All the blood flow is being reversed. So this is good for scoliosis, back problems, neck problems, pregnancy, after pregnancy. And then this is a much easier inversion than my hanging straps, which can be too long, too wide. A person may have, a knee replacement, an ankle replacement, you can't hang them. So this you can leave the person or yourself 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So this is a common ending place and a common beginning place, all right? To just use your high mat for that one exercise. This is not in the subject of the back problems, but since I haven't reviewed the high mat, if you have someone really, really tall, I'll be connecting all the dots here. If you have someone really tall and fit, I was in Switzerland, I had a 6'4" Swiss national champion of handballs, right? Athlete, 6'4" athlete. He comes in. I'm not going to put him on the reformer, he hardly fits. I put my high mat up, I give him a weighted bar, and we start with roll-ups upside down with the weighted bar. Okay? So you can see that range of motion from a damaged body to an advanced body, just using this one piece of equipment in this position. All right, so I find that really useful. Now take it down. Down on the deck this morning, all full of ash. All right, so the starting places. Let's start with someone with the scoliosis, because that's the easiest thing to do. It depends, of course, you're going to analyze the person. How old are they? Are they 16? Are they 26? Are they 46? Are they 86? In terms of how long have they lived with this and what are they doing with it? It's not to be treated like anything super special. People don't like super picking on their problem. They want to know, what can I do? So back problem, first thing I do, I remember I have my reformer box by the Cadillac. We step up. We step up and we start our stretches with our foot in the swing, all right? Let's do a few of those. So here is a better choice than the ladder rail because I don't want to move their back. The subject will be, let's not move their back to start. Here they have something to hold on to, which is similar to when you see people in rehab and they're on the learning how to walk again. So this makes them feel very comfortable. All right, so we have our just stretching the hamstrings. So right away we start with doing something. We're going to look at their form. Of course, if it's a scoliosis, whatever their body is collapsing is also going to be in their ankle. We pick the ankle, the knee, the hip up. We just stretch. All right, we turn sideways. We just stretch. Your length of the swing, we'll bend our knee down here and up. And I'm working, of course, on all the principles of alignment, which you all know because you're teachers. I'm just stretching their legs. You're going to find scoliosis people are super flexible. That's why they all lose their bones in their positions. They have this laxicity. We're not going to do the one to the back right now. Let's switch legs. We're comparing the left to the right. They're saying, oh my God, that's so tight. If this position is too high, you can add some clips and lower it 3 inches. It should be in a direct line with the hip. If it's still too high, you can take the lower one and just do it on both legs. Of course, all the same principles, pressing the heel down, pushing forward with the hip. We're just going to do the front and the side, and we're just going to stretch the legs. Just starting the stretch, but starting with something interesting. Depending on the back problem, we can do the one to the back. Normally, when you don't understand a back problem, you just make all the safe choices until you write their program down, and then you see, yes, that worked for them really well. So I'm starting with the back problem with just leg stretches. When somebody has a disc problem, and if you don't understand the problem, it's pretty simple to just say, well, what gives you relief or what causes you pain? When you bend forward, does that hurt? Or when you bend back, does that hurt? They go, oh no, this feels really good. This feels really bad. So that means the way if they have a herniation, where that disc is herniated. If you don't understand the problem, don't go into changing the back at all. So if extension makes them feel better in a back problem, then I'll do the back leg, right? Because I'm extending the leg. If that swing is too high, you can do it in the loop. And you're just doing traction. You're just warming up and starting them doing something. Because a lot of people who have tight hamstrings, and that's an important exercise. When you organize your class, you can organize the class. I learned a lot of this from my friend Teresa Holmes in Wales, because she has 4th-stage brain cancer. And when she came to me, it's how do you work with someone with a brain tumor? I've never had that client before. And so the job was to never move her head. Don't move her head, right? Which you can say the same thing of a neck problem, bad neck problem. So in this way, you can organize your class on where's everything standing, right? So I like to start my scoliosis people with headaches, shoulder problems, anything like that. I like to start them on the pedipole, standing, right? So we're just going to run through this idea of extension choices on the equipment. So here, especially in a scoliosis, their heads are going in different directions. Usually it's coming forward, it's off to the side. You'll see them on the reformer, their head will move when they straighten their legs. Here, working in front of a mirror and having the head in the right place, right? As my arms go down, I'm lifting up. So I'm extending my spine. I'm getting off of my discs. My head is in the right place. My back is doing nothing, but my abdominals, my glutes, my inner thighs, my triceps, my biceps, my shoulders, my breathing. It's an extraordinary tool, the pedipole, which is really underused, right? So I might spend 5 minutes on the pedipole with higher reps or lower reps. Make sure you choose the right springs. You can go heavier springs, you can go lighter springs. We reviewed this in a previous class on how to make it match the size of the person. Again, here I'm just bending my knees and coming up, but it teaches the body to keep the head over the spine. So when you're working with back problems, knee problems, neck problems, the most important thing is your posture. The head comes forward, it puts all the weight on the lower back, right? As soon as your head comes forward, it changes your curves. So you can try to, when you can place the head in the right position, it'll help the other curves of the stack up of the gravity of the body, okay? And once you teach people the pole, right? We're teaching them posture and what to do when they're not here. Again, on the Cadillac, the pole puts my neck back on the place. If you don't have a Cadillac, I tell my people, stand against the wall or against the corner. Do the same exercises. So you're reinforcing the position of the head and you're lengthening the muscles of the neck without hurting any of the discs, right? That'll be the subject, how to not hurt the discs, right? So when you have a back problem, the first place they go is the table. On a reformer, a serious back problem can really only do footwork, only footwork. You shouldn't do legs and the straps. So I'll take the person. Remember, I've got my pretty little neck pillow here. I've set my springs up and they'll be on the table, bent knees, but strong springs, depending on who they are. All right? Let's start with some arms. And I've got to get my clips right. What I was doing, last person. All right, here, I have strong arms. Let's exhale down. All the same principles. The shoulders are down, the abs are in. They're breathing, they're counting. They have no gravity on, but I'm working their extremities very strong. Watching their range of motion, little tiny circles, bigger circles, bigger range of motion. If there's any pain, we go slow and we explore. Triceps, stretch and bend. All right, so here I want to give you my little sequence for back problems, doing what we call coordination. All right, first we're just stretching and bending the arms. All right, we can stretch and alternate legs. My inner thighs are tight here. Any back problem, the legs go straight up. So here I am doing what we would call coordination. Always straight up to the 90 degrees, adding in an open and a close. I'm already sweating. One more. All right. I don't move the body. Rather than move the body, I change the loops. The teacher's right there. So when someone is in pain or it takes them a long time to get up and go down and turn around, rather than move the body, I may never move the body. I just change the loops. Sometimes I'll just do the arm work with the loops. It doesn't bother me at all. Gives me a little bit of extra length. But I haven't moved the body, right? So these are your basics. You all know them. But we need to review them for your range of motion. Here, again, like we did in our table class, I'm staying within the poles. I'm not going down too far. Hand position can be down. Hand position can be up. If it's a neck problem, I stay off of the neck. Go back to what is the purpose of the exercise. And here I'll do my whole series with circles, making sure the hips are even, all the right cues, bending and stretching. I don't call them frogs, I just say bend and stretch. I won't have some guy in here and say, hey, let's do some frogs. My diamonds. I like always one leg. I love the asymmetrical exercises, seeing, especially on the scoliosis, you're going to see the weaker leg. A high bike rather than a low bike. All of these things. Your little six-pointed frogs that used to be called, kind of like variation of your short spine. So when you have somebody who has back problems or disc problems, these exercises on the Cadillac are better than the exercises on the Reformer, because the circles and frogs on the Reformer, the carriage is moving, so they have to have some sort of trunk stability. Whereas when the carriage doesn't move, it defers back more into the body, right? So better to put someone on the table where they're right underneath your hands than on the Reformer for a back problem, right? So again, the job we're doing today is to just not change, not go into any rounding, not go into any twisting. Extension, okay, and scoliosis depends on the disc problem. So you can go through your series. I have a list for you. I will send you for the scoliosis. I don't have it for the back problems because every back problem is different, right? But I want you to see the idea of extension. I'm extending my body. I'm extending my body, right? My spine, my neck. I'm not going to do any neck turns. I'm just doing the first exercise, triceps. Nothing changes in my spinal column. I can do knee stretches. I can do a thigh stretch. Totally fine. For scoliosis, Depends on the back problem, if it's chronic, if it's acute, what it is. All right, backward arms. These are all extension because I feel like I'm lifting. I'm lifting. So you do not want to think in terms of beginning, intermediate, advanced, or level 1, 2, 3, 4. You would like to say, where can I extend the body? I'm still strengthening the body when I extend it. All right, so we have those same exercises, of course, when we're standing. I'm extending the body. Here, I love all of the lifts, nice and safe. Nice working on the ankles, right? Not turning the head, not doing any rounding. So just look at everywhere and go, where am I extending the body? Okay, feels really good. Whatever else you want to do here is fine. My backward arms, fine. All this is good for all those problems. If we're talking about a neck problem, I'm going to put these all together. If we're talking about a neck problem, then I would stay off of the neck. Depends on what is the neck problem. Sorry, there's something coming in there. What is the neck problem? I worked with Michelle Phillips from Mamas and Papas. Her surgeon sent her to me, and after she put in 3 titanium plates. It was pretty scary, actually, to tell you the truth. She was older. She had just had her neck cut open. And one of the things I want to address working together is not just how do we work the body, but how do we work the mind? Because the body's not the problem. The mind is usually the problem. So to how to assess somebody. So when we're talking about Romano's 4 R's and how many repetitions, I'm also putting that in a framework of time. Just a 15-minute hanging or a 30-minute class. So with Michelle Phillips, she doesn't like to exercise. She doesn't like to exercise. She doesn't have the endurance or the interest. So I said, we're going to do 31 minutes. It was just a weird number, one more than 30 minutes. We're going to do 31 minutes. And it hooked your brain in. Okay, I can do 31 minutes. So everything we did had nothing to do with the neck. It had everything to do with posture and stabilizing the trunk, okay? So for an example, on all those problems, not how do I address the problem, but how do you not hurt the problem? So we did it last class. I love to start on the foot corrector as a starting place or an ending place. If you have your studio set up, again, with your equipment out, you're going to come to it and pump it. You can't help it. You look at it, you go to it, you start pumping it. We're just going to do 5 just as I talk, with the toes wrapped around. This is really good for the scoliosis, because when you see somebody who has it, and it's not a big deal, you don't need a whole workshop in it, but their joints, they're loose, their ligaments are completely loose, so everything moves. They hyperextend in their elbows, their neck can't stay in place, their ribs pop out, but you're going to see it in their ankles a lot. You'll see it when they stand. At a young girl with a complete rod. When she stands, that foot completely collapses, right? I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but when she stands, that foot, that ankle goes in. So you'll see people like this. The foot goes in, the knee goes in, because they're trying to unconsciously stack their bones up. So back to the feet and the foot corrector and working the knee and the inner thigh and the arch is really important, all right? If you don't have a foot corrector, let's take it to the low chair. Same thing. Flexing and pointing the foot is the same exercise, almost, as compressing the foot corrector, right? You need to see all those points. If you don't have a foot corrector, the chair is your foot corrector. Joe Pilates talks about it in his patents, that foot pedal is the size of the arch on the reformer. The foot bar is so that the arch can wrap around it, right? It's one of the few things that haven't messed up. So you can do working on the feet standing on the foot corrector, on the wonder chair, or on the reformer if you don't have a foot corrector. All right, so the subject of the scoliosis. It's going to depend on what equipment you have, not what brand, but what pieces do you have where you're going to do your extension. I like the wonder chair for me. So where's our extension? Right? I'm not performing the swan. I'm extending my back. I'm extending. And all the variations. Pumping. One arm really important. And the other arm really important. I'm extending the back. These are for the scoliosis people, not the back problems. The side stretch, right? We've been doing it like this. The side body is really, really nice for people who have scoliosis. I like that theory of the side body. We could do a whole class just on side body. Where are all the exercises where I'm working in that plane? So instead of rounding them forward, instead of my knee stretches and my short spine and my roll-ups and my hundreds, I'm extending or I'm choosing the side body. These exercises are important. When you're looking at the body and you start to see, of course, in something like a scoliosis, the one shoulder is going to be higher. So what I found in a lot of my people is I can make them look better from the front, right? You can't fix a scoliosis. You can strengthen the weaker side and stretch the tighter side. But you can correct from the front. So a lot of women are really concerned because they see them, they're like this. And so you can strengthen that shoulder blade by doing more one-arm exercises. Here I'm just working on one shoulder blade, one shoulder over the other. And when people say, oh, I had one lady, she's like, I have to have my pants altered because my one leg is 1.5 inches longer than the other one. You can get the hips square when they're lying down. So you can work one leg over the other. When you're relating this back to a disc problem, depends if it's a recent problem, stay off the problem, or it's a long-term problem. They've learned to live with it. They're out of therapy, they're walking, riding bikes. Again, extension. So when I have my leg behind me, and I need you to feel what you do. You don't have to know anatomy. When I bring my leg behind me, this muscle tightens, my lower back tightens, my glute tightens. My back is extending my leg, right? So it's extension. So when you see someone and they have the hollow, you see them on their side during their side legs or on any of the chairs, they have a hollow side. It's hard to give a exact formula because everybody's scoliosis is different, but they have a hollow side. That means it's a weaker side. There's less muscle there. And so you're going to do more on that weaker side. 20 on the good leg, 10 on the 40 on the weaker leg, that sort of thing. Don't work a body that's not symmetrical. Don't work it symmetrically. Left, right, left, weak, strong, weak, like that. All right, so when we're talking about the side body exercises as a subject for scoliosis, we started with these on the table. Traction. I'm tractioning out everything. Traction is you're taking the bones away from each other. All right, extending, you're taking the bones away from each other. And you never know until you put someone into an exercise. You may say, oh, I think this is right. And then all of a sudden they go, wow, that side is so much harder. You never know until you move the person or they move what needs to be stretched and where if there's any scar tissue or blocks in the anatomy until you stretch them, all right? So we're not doing any flexion on a back problem or a neck problem or a scoliosis. We're doing extension and we're doing traction, all right? There's a lot of that in the system. Let's take it to the reformer, which I'll send you the list on the reformer, but once you see like this, that you're either going to do traction extension or a straight body or a side body, all right? So I'm going to run you through some exercises here, if you can see it here. Camera's bigger than my studio, camera's smaller than the living room here, sorry. Okay. In terms of starting places and ending places, especially those of you who've done Pilates for long times, many years, and your clients have done it for many years, I like to start sometimes in the long stretch position. The stretch series is perfect for scoliosis, all right? So we'll start in our push-up position. The body's extended. It's a lot of strength, right? I'm going to keep the reps low so I can give you a lot of information today. I'm starting with strength, then I'm going into my extension here. The body's extended, right? It's an extension. Elephant is profound. I used to think it was a very boring exercise until I broke my leg, and then it became super profound. Elephant is not really a flexion, even though you feel a little bit rounded. And there's a difference between, you need to look at each one of your exercises again. There's a difference between a roll down and a roll up and something like an elephant. And the difference is your spine is being pressed into the mat. It's touching something. So I will not give a roll up, certainly not a rollover, to any back problem. But depending on what they do, they're functioning, they got to tie their shoes. I don't consider an elephant or press down the same, even though it's a little bit flexion. Then I do something where their spine is being touched to the vinyl, okay? The side stretch exercise for scoliosis, incredible. Those of you who are taking this class probably have some classical training. Let me take that back. Everybody's reformer is a little different. So if I'm going to do the mermaid, I would do it on the chair or I would do it on the table. So on the table, best exercise. And I like to have a lot of resistance on this. I don't like it too light. All right, so I'm starting with my side stretch. I'm strengthening the shoulder. I'm extending the back, but I've taken out the base because for some scoliosis people, it depends on the scoliosis. That's a weird position. This is a weird position for them. And there's no point in doing the other one. Here I take the base out of it. I'm extending. And I've got a side stretch. Oh, that feels really good. And I'm in the side body, meaning I'm working in this plane rather than this plane or this plane. When you look at your reformer, and I know when we started this course, we started with the reformer backwards, my favorite class. I wouldn't necessarily choose the asymmetrical standing exercises. It depends when I build the person's program. But the standing exercises are really good in this plane. In classical, we use 2 springs on the reformer, so I can stand on it. And I'm going to do, for back problems, scoliosis or neck problems, the great exercise. I'll take my hands here to take it out of the neck. This is not someone in acute pain. This is just someone who's living with their back problem. Great exercise, right? Side body, inner thighs, outer thighs, extension. I'm taking out all the ballet because there is no ballet here. It's inner thighs, outer thighs. When you have those two springs on, that's the pushing out, right? When in doubt, you can put your hands on your muscles. Outer thigh, inner thigh, all right? Always step on the reformer before you step off, and when you have two springs on, you can do that. So let's roll through the reformer for the extension exercises. Long back stretch. Incredible. It stretches your back. It even says what it does. What's happening? I'm tractioning out. I'm tractioning out. All the skeleton is going down. Skeleton, all the discs are opening up, right? So you can look at it as a tricep, lower ab, hip exercise, or it is a extension exercise because the spine opens up, all right? Here, this is a nice block exercise, also good for the scoliosis. Hands and feet, everything is in that square. Also with that long back stretch, you don't have to go in a list. The sequence on the reformer and the mat, yes, it works the body front, back, side, and forward, but it's also for you just to remember the exercises. That's how the masters put things together. Even in a martial arts system, the masters put together the katas of blocks and punches and kicks so that people would remember the techniques. After that, you can mix it up a little bit. So we have our 10 stretch, also good, right? I'm not compressing. That's the main thing I want to get you to go, is no compression here. No compression. Don't really like the one leg on the reformer, I like it on the chair. So all of these exercises. There are 75 reformer exercises. So I look at the reformer list, it's in my head. I look at the body and I eliminate. I don't think of modifying. I don't think of adapting. What I just say is, if you have to modify, skip the exercise, right? You got a knee problem, don't put him on, don't give him knee stretches. It's just that simple. We have hundreds of other things to do. So all of these exercises, the position of the head is going to be different on each reformer. So the headrest, right? We know it goes up, it goes down. It's in different places. Like for instance, on the balanced body, the head is on the other side of the shoulders and there's a big gap there. So the position of the headrest is really important. I prefer my little pillow, or you can use a towel, a little red cherry tomato pillow, with no headrest up and the pillow underneath the head, all right? So when I'm working a neck problem, again, it depends on the problem. It's a big class to discuss, but is it recent? Have you been living with it? Are you in pain? What causes the pain? If someone's in physical therapy, don't work with them. They should be working with you. They're already, like, too many cooks spoil the broth. After physical therapy, and they come to you and you say, what did your PT have you do? Your physiotherapist have you do? If you're not sure. When I work with someone with neck problems, I'm working like this. Let's say we're doing the hundreds. You see, I haven't taught a lot of hundreds because everybody's got thousands of hundreds in them. All right, so when I'm doing the neck problems, here, right, my hundreds. in any position. And then one time lift the head up and then lower it. One time lift the head up and lower it. I'm doing that not on the first lesson. First lesson, they never move their neck. And I may or may not use any weights on them. Then once I work them out 1, 2, 3 hours, let's lift your head up once, let's lower it. Let's lift your head up once, let's lower it. Let's lift your head up once, let's lower it, and call me tomorrow. So the gauge of working with people, first of all, you should keep a chart. I like to, especially in my Zoom classes, I keep charts because I can't have my hands on you. I'm not supposed to put hands on anyway. But I always take notes. First time I saw Carola Trier was in the, I don't know, late 80s in Santa Fe. She worked out of her home. She was about 83, 84. Probably, you guys come see me in 20 years, that'll be me. And she would do a chart on you, right? Just like a doctor. And you know, your age and your problems, you know, torn rotator, broken ankle, whatever. And then each time you came in, she would remember and look at that chart. So I do that on all people who have a situation, I like to call it, back, neck, knee problems, scoliosis. On what exactly did I do with them? How many repetitions did I do and what did I do? It's like a doctor, so that you go to see the doctor and you go, doctor, I'm having these symptoms. And he goes, okay, here, take this medicine at this dose and call me tomorrow. See how you feel. So when someone walks in, it's how are you feeling if they have these problems? At the end of the class, how are you feeling? Oh, I feel really energetic. Oh, I'm really tired. And I call them the next day, or now we just have them text the next day. How do you feel? Oh, I'm in pain. Where are you in pain? Oh, my inner thighs, my lower abs, and the back of my arms. I'm like, yes. Oh, my lower back and my neck. No. So you review right away. Ramona would say you review right away the program that you gave them because you made a mistake. You gave them too many. You gave them the wrong exercise. You gave it to them for too long. Or exactly what you gave them was perfect. They had no negative effects. And then you repeat that program, right? That's why it's like give someone the same lesson for 10 sessions was the original idea. That works, that works, that works. Now I'm gonna add this exercise in. For those of you who have food allergies, for instance, if you were to go to a doctor, he would take you off wheat and soy and corn and dairy, and then you add in one product. And go, oh, I didn't have a negative reaction to that soy, or I did have a negative reaction. So you can see that they weren't ready for that exercise yet, or that exercise was fine. All right. The spine corrector, baby spine corrector. Just this one exercise, people coming in. Look around. What do we got here? Extension. The back is extended. Just lying on this is therapy. With my little neck support. Not going back in the neck in line with the spine. Whatever size pillow you need for that size spinal column. And I'm extending my arms. Just extending my arms. Just doing range of motion. So the barrel on this end is a great starting place. The barrel on this end is a great ending place. Right? So you need to allow the restorative positions. You need to allow the rest. When you're working with anyone who has a situation, pain, surgery, disease, or energy, so I'm going to give them 3 or 5 minutes of an exercise, and a minute off. Or springs on, springs off, springs on, springs off. I will confess to you, I'll confess to you that I've been pushing people a little bit too hard because we just don't have the time. You've got to get it together, right? And I'm also very intense in my teaching right now. And the lady, after she works with me, goes home and she's exhausted. But I remember when I took my private with Ramana, I'd take a private with Ramana, and then I would go sleep for 2 hours. I would take a private with Ramana, and then I would go sleep for 2 hours. So I don't look at that as a negative experience. You can look at that as how the boxers or the athletes train. They train, eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep. So when you have somebody in this compromised position of pain, back problems, neck problems, whatever, you have to go springs on, springs off, or give them rest periods. Just let them settle in with all the changes in their glands and their blood and their tissue and things that are moving around. It's a much more internal approach than just a athletic workout approach. Of course, we have done a full electric chair, and we have done a full armchair. Anything where the back is fully supported is perfect for back and neck problems. If you don't have a high chair, you can just take your window chair and put it against your table. You probably all know this. See that? Sorry, don't have a cameraman up here in the mountains. Right? So if you don't have a chair with the handles, put your chair against your table. These exercises here for back problems, neck problems, scoliosis are perfect. Going up. So in Ramana's studio, everybody did the high chair. Going up was they had their 2 final exercises. They just went and did this. And why? Because it's practical. The thing that people need the most, have the most fear is going upstairs, right? They're holding on. If they're in the high chair, they are working on their alignment with the foot plates. If you don't have a chair, I've been seeing some beautiful workouts during this pandemic. People trying to teach their clients without equipment and doing the chair without the chair. Here's my box. I'm stepping up, I'm stepping down, stepping up, I'm stepping down. I have them holding on. My mat, smaller. My tenon stretch. So all these things in the subject of standing, balance, one leg over the other, where you're just working in your system with what you have. All right? I'm going to take the circle. This is one of the most underused, I think, tricks in the system. My magic circle is actually a magic oval because I've had it for so long. And it's got three bands of steel. So you're working with the idea of, let's say, any of these problems, neck problems, scoliosis, or back problems, in strengthening these muscles, right? If they are in a chronic condition, meaning they've been living with this situation for a long time, then you can use resistance. Let's start with the person who's recently hurt their neck, right? How to strengthen the neck. Let's take our hands like that, put it on the forehead, and you're going to press forward and release, right? Homework for people. You'll feel it, you'll see it. So the whole body always gets work front, back, and side. Arms, legs, trunk, neck, right? That feels good, actually. And then this is with no resistance, just using my hands. Then I can add the circle. Depending on whose circle you have, how many bands of steel, the 1 cheap band, 2 bands, 3 bands. Same exercise here. I like to work in front of a mirror. I like them to see what they're doing. I like to see the muscles popping. Would not be giving a neck stretcher to someone with a neck problem. Right? Obviously. So front, back, and side, and under the chin too. Strengthening the neck. When somebody has, I learned this from a neurologist. When somebody has a back problem, think of it like your house, and there's a light that's not working. Your electrical system down here, you plug in the heater and it's not working. When the electrician comes, he's got to track it back to the box, right? He's got to track it back to the fuse box. I don't think we have fuses anymore. Track it back to the electrical box and trace it back. Where is it not connected? If you see the body in this way, the person has, this is the situation, right? Where is the situation? This is the situation. They've had surgery, so it's been disconnected. Or they've had a car accident, so it's been disconnected. The wires from here are not connected to here, similar to in a house. So then you must start with the fuse box and go down, rather than the legs and come up. This is an important point for you on where's your starting place. I'll review that. Person comes in with a back problem, I don't start them on footwork on the reformer. I start them with the pedipole. I start them with the armchair. I start them with some arm weights. When we did our, when the circus guys did their warm-ups, Sofferbeck called it spinning. I start with the brain and turning the switches on down to the back. Because I learned this from a very good doctor where he sent me someone to fix their back after the accident. I worked with her for 6 weeks. I saw no results. If you do not see results in your work, it's like you're building a house and then there's an empty lot and you've hired a contractor and you come back 3 weeks later and there's no, where's the foundation? You don't see any work. You must see results in your work. So I was not seeing any results. She was not getting stronger. She was not getting more, nothing was happening. And I'm like, I called the doctor and said, maybe I don't understand this back problem. And he said, well, she has a neurological problem, not a muscular skeletal problem. And the way to work with her is like this. And I went, ah. He said, you must start with the arms. You must start with the neck and get everything that's stagnant and stuck and not connected from the brain, the central nervous system, to go down and then out to the extremities. All right. So with the back problem, I'm doing arms and neck. It's a different approach. I will finish with footwork on the reformer. But if somebody has a back problem, very little things they can do on the reformer, a serious back problem. And that's where you use your system. Your leg springs, your arm springs, your chairs, your pedipole, foot corrector. I just want to say very, very strongly, series, that once a problem, always a problem. Once a problem is always a problem. Once there is a change in the original blueprint, then that blueprint is never perfect again. It may heal, but there's always a chance. And you learn these from your mistakes. I had a lady, she said, you got any problems? No. You have any pain? No. No problems. I gave her short spine in her 3rd lesson, and it triggered an old disc problem she had 20 years ago. And she was in pain for a long time after that class because I had her in flexion with pressure to stretch her. But she told me I didn't think that was a long time ago. So once a problem, always a problem. Always have that respect for the knee or the foot or the neck because something will happen, and strengthen everything around it. The most important thing, again, is posture and homework. If they do not have, obviously they may not have equipment at home, then I'm going to have them against a wall or a door. The head is in the right place, the abs just the same memory cues they get from your equipment, and they're just doing their footwork standing, leaning against something. The most important thing, head's in the right position, the back is supported, watching their abs and their inner thighs, kicking up the reps because I don't have any springs. See, last week's class is always good for when you're at the market, if you still have to stand on the X. I'm always doing my little footwork, always doing something. The other thing is you are a teacher, and teachers give homework. So you must tell your people, this is your homework. I would say the single most important exercise, if we could have a contest, let's have a contest. The single most important exercise in Pilates, what would it be? What would it be? What is the one exercise that covers everything? You're muted, so you can't answer it. Do you know what it is? What is your one go-to exercise? Think about it. I'll give you a test, but I'll give you the answer because we gotta go. The single most important exercise is the single leg circle. All right? No, good for neck problems, good for back problems, good for knee problems, good for all problems, right? The stretch, holding it, right? We're holding it longer. How long am I doing it? Maybe I'll hold it for a minute or 30 seconds. And I'm doing very small circles with this knee bent. Then I'm advancing and this leg is straight. Then I'm going a little bigger circles. I'm crossing over the thigh. I'm crossing over the ankle. Single most important exercise worth the entire $10 today is your single leg circle, because it's no gravity, no resistance, although you can add a spring to it. Inner thigh, outer thigh, lower abs, energy going to your back. Kick up the reps, expand the range of motion. So that is my class today. It was more of a lecture because I don't have a body in front of me to show you, and I don't want to particularly show you my body because of the camera angles. And I want to say that we are in this pandemic, and it's brought out a lot of good in people. I think it's brought us closer to our practice, more realistic in our practice, which is, this is about your body. It's about your body. Other second question on the test, on my quiz. What is it about Pilates? What is it? What is it about Pilates? We had a screenshot, you could write it in. What is it about Pilates? Shall I give you the answer? It's about your body. Pilates is about your body. And there's nothing more important than your body. That's it, that's all you got. Pilates is about your body. It's not about fashion, it's not about popularity, it's not about money, it's about your body. It's about, that's all you got, and your mind. So when we work with all these people, at least when we were all working our minds off, we're working too much. And this pandemic will retone your teaching skills where you are not touching the equipment, right? We saw in one of the classes I did, we did, half-hour armchair, half-hour ladder barrel, only got to clean 2 things. Just using those 2 pieces of equipment. I'm not touching. You need to go through, unless the person is in pain or injured, really old, or paying you a lot of money. I don't pick up the box. I don't change the foot bar. I don't change the springs. Change the springs, add the spring, headrest up, headrest down, foot bar up, foot bar down, box on, box off, next go over there. I show them, maybe not on the push through bar so much, but I show them how to use the equipment, just like a gym. So you're doing less, you're saving your joints and your back, they're doing more. And then they can duplicate that or buy their own equipment. So there are some positive things about this situation, which is I've met you. And it's made our practice, I think, clearer. And those of us who have equipment at home, when we weren't able to go out, it was better than just hanging over your barrel. So I want to thank Allison Gonzalez for organizing these classes. I'm up here at 7,000 feet and she's in San Francisco and you guys are all over the world. I want to thank you for participating today. Today we are donating the proceeds from this class and last week's class to Belkis, who had her home burned down in Oregon. I've never met her, never talked to her, but I've always liked her Facebook posts. So good thing about Facebook. And I'll unmute if you have any questions, and I'd love to see you all again. I have some other ideas, but that will probably be it for our Friday morning classes as you're back to work and your children are back to school, probably online.
So great. Thank you, Siri, so much for doing all of this. I've learned so much. That's for
Seriously.
Sure.
Oh my God. That's pretty honorable for a Bob babe. I think, Bob was so awesome. He really knew the system, but I've been to so many studios on so many different pieces of equipment. And so I've learned a lot about the equipment. I like to just focus on the equipment. Does anyone have any questions? Joy, I don't really know you, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Today was not so much a workout, a little bit of a lecture.
Yes, sir. Could you restate?
I don't have any questions, but I have really enjoyed. I've been able to get some of the sessions I missed and have been enjoying watching them. So I would definitely be interested in what you have coming up next. And
I have some good ideas. I'd like to come into
6 o'clock my time. That's totally doable.
I'd like to come into everyone's homes. Do you have equipment at your house?
Some. I'm collecting it.
Good. Be careful about what you collect and call me. I've been shipping spine correctors and armchairs all over the world. And have you been working out from the tapes? Has it changed?
Yeah, I have.
Changed your approach?
I do have access to a studio, so I have been doing that, and yeah, it's been really helpful.
I haven't done the mat yet, and my mat is just as different as my approach to the mat is just as different as everything else. But I've been concentrating on the equipment. Where do you live?
I live in Milwaukee.
Wow.
Where is that?
That's where the cheese is, isn't it?
Pardon?
There
used to be cheese here, but yeah, just north of Chicago a ways.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me? My screen says Harriet, but I'm Cynthia. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you from?
I live in El Cerrito, California. I'm from New York, though. Anywho, could you repeat your 4 R's, please?
My 4 R's. Okay. My 4 R's, Romana's 4 R's. Romana actually had 3 R's. I added the 4th, but I'm giving her credit. Your resistance level, your repetition, your rhythm, fast or slow, and your range of motion. That's it, not beginning, intermediate, or advanced. That came with compartmentalizing certification. I met Romana in 1989, before certification. There was no level 1, 2, 3, or 4. There was, you got pain, you don't have pain, you're able, you're not able. You do more, you do less, you go faster, you go slower. You start with your butt down, your leg springs, and your leg springs are in the air. Pain goes a smaller range of motion. Pain is a very small range of motion because where is it that you find the pain? So the cue on working with pain, my cue, I hate to say cue because in England that's like a different word, but is you brush against it. Let's say I had a torn rotator cuff when I met Romana. So there's a movement, and once you get to a certain place in the movement, that pain begins, and you're the only one who knows it. So you go and you just brush against it. You just lightly touch it and then come back. You just work that range of motion. The soccer back, the surface guy, when I asked him, Like, what do you do to work out? He goes, I do small movements first. Small movements work the small muscles, and then I spin. How's it spinning, right? So the 4 R's, yeah, those have been very, very helpful for me as a formula. And then erase all that other stuff, this, I don't want to talk about other people, but the Stott and stuff like that, spend 4 hours on the shoulder exercise. Or, England, where they spend 4 hours on a squeeze your rectum and zip and hollow, squeeze your rectum and zip and hollow, erase everything. We tend to imitate and copy our teachers. Go to those 4 R's. This is my piece of equipment. I'm not teaching the person Pilates. This is the reformer. This is how to use it. And this is what you do on it. And this is what you don't do on it. It's just so much easier for me.
Thank you.
Who else we got up there? Pamela? Where are you from, Pam?
Hi, I'm in the Bay Area as well, near San Francisco, in a town called Corte Madera in Marin County.
Oh my God, how's the air up there?
Yesterday was the first good air quality in a month. It's been hazardous for a month.
Yeah.
So we finally have good air.
I have my mat, my high mat. I have it. I wanted to give you an outdoor class, but I wasn't sure the Ethernet would go outside. I have my high mat on my deck, and I go and lie outside on the deck upside down all the time.
Right.
So I brought it in this morning. It's completely covered with ash. Everything's covered with ash.
Oh.
These are challenging times, but so was Joe's time. So we'll get through this.
Yeah. Yeah, between that and the pandemic, I felt imprisoned.
Right.
Couldn't go outside.
Well, this is what brings you back to the mentality of the work, which is never addressed. And what's happened is that in the last 20 years, even 30 years, the people's personalities and the groups have taken over the work. I don't like to call it the work because of those people. I don't like to call it the method because of those people. I don't like original, authentic, anything. It's just Pilates. The idea is they are in prison and you've got anxiety. There's an anxiety. I know I have anxiety. I've been pulling out my body hair. It's great. I have no more body hair. I'm like, gone. I have this anxiety. And so it's how do you help somebody mentally? And so the answer is you got to get the mind off of the mind. It's the mind that's making us crazy. We have worries, we have anxieties. We forget that God's still making the sun come up and everything's really okay. And so how do you take control of the mind? You got to give it a job, right? It's like a teenager. Those of you who have kids, it's like, you better give him something to do or he ain't getting out of bed. He's just going to be on the phone. You've given your mind something to do. What am I doing? Oh, I'm concentrating on this. Oh, I'm concentrating on this. I'm not concentrating on, the election. I'm concentrating on how many chins do I have? Can I have one? Can I work my neck? I'm concentrating on, can I just get this stronger since I have all this time? So it's a mentality. And then the mentality is, we've created, and the people have created all over the world, is to connect with people. But usually it's one buddy. If you think, who was the teacher who had, you'll come to your mind right away, like who connected you? Who was your teacher? Who had that first influence on you, right? Who opened their hearts and gave to you or pushed you or demanded you, right? You all have someone in your mind. That is the connection. Joe had his brother. Joe had Clara. Romana had Drago. Who do you have that you can work with, that you can call that one person or work out together with, or you see they're going down, right? You see something is happening to them and you got to reach out and, you got to reach out. I mean, hopefully, the people in this gallery would reach out. And that's what we're doing for Belkis, because we cannot imagine, I cannot imagine my house burning down and all my equipment burning with it. In fact, I can replace the house, but I can't replace Joe Pilates' electric chair. The grief of that, and she handled it with like such grace. I'm like, aren't you beautiful? So the mentality is important, and that's helping us get away from the PMA or the certification groups or the games or, you know, and now that we don't have money, we don't have to do, you know, all of those things, toe socks, Pilateology, Pilates anytime, PMA, put in my dues. I have to tell you real quickly, and I know the class is over, but I've become a realtor in the last few years, which I love because there's ethics, legal ethics. And I just forgot what I was going to say, so I'm going to end the class right there.
Oh,
I'm just going to end the class right there. Sorry, I got all excited, and I could go on and on. Did you have something to say? Oh, it's not Harriet. It's
I'm Cynthia. Using Harriet's because my computer crashed.
right. All that stuff. All that stuff. And how are you doing in New York, Dallas?
We can't hear you,
I'm
Dallas.
well, thank you. They finally allowed gyms and studios to open, but you know, like only like 30% of capacity. My studio's home base, so I max out at 4, so I'm really just doing privates now.
That's
And
good.
that's it.
Feel free to let them clean the equipment. I think it's better to clean the equipment. It's like when you go to the market, you go to Vons, and they have someone there washing down all the baskets. I still take the thing. So they could wipe down the equipment before they start, and then everybody can feel really safe. I don't think the teachers should have to do everything.
Yeah.
The teacher is there to make the choices, to spot you, encourage you and inspire you. They're not the, you know, let them clean the equipment. And again, if you keep them on just one thing, like the reformer, you only have one thing to clean.
Yeah, good idea. But I've gotten air filters that we have to have the decals on the floor. So I got everything set. This is it. This is what they're expecting. You know, we have to wear masks when working out. Some people are not going to want to do that. So we'll see.
I am COVID compliant, and I take the temperature when they come in. I know that that's not an indicator of being sick, but I just went to my dentist, and they had the thermometer on the wall. And before you went into the room, you know, so I'm not, I am COVID compliant, but I'm not wearing a mask when I teach. I'm not sick. They're not sick. They're sick. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't work out if they're sick. And who's that down there? Jacqueline?
Hi.
Your name is familiar. Have we met before?
Yeah, you've sent things to me occasionally over the years.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
ah. I like your loud girl there.
Thanks.
So I look forward to seeing you again. Alice and I will communicate. She does everything for me because she's amazing, and I just can't get it together. But if we'd like to go forward, I do have some ideas, but we might choose another time. You might want to say what time is better for you, what subjects are better for you. What I would like to do is, you know, instead of the way I was teaching my Skype classes all the last few years, I just sit at my desk and I tell you what to do in your space. And we could do something where we visit each other's, you know, maybe half an hour at this studio, half an hour at this studio on your equipment. And I train you on your equipment, and you watch how I teach somebody, because we haven't been able to see how I teach, which is very strictly.
That sounds great. I'm
Yeah.
up for that.
Right. God bless all of you. Thank you for attending and for donating. Thank you, Allison, and see you in the future.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Be
Looking
well.
forward to
Thank
it.
you.
Bye, all.
Everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Allison.
Thank you.
Allison.
Thanks
Yes.
so much.
Yes. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Okay, thank you, everyone.